Most people think unsalted butter is automatically the healthy choice, but that's not always true. Some brands are loaded with hidden ingredients and processing methods that can harm your health. Today, I'll reveal the unsalted butter brands you should avoid at all costs, and share the 2 brands that are actually worth buying. If you care about your heart, weight, and your long-term health, this video could save you from making the wrong choice at the grocery store. Most people assume that when they pick up a pack of unsalted butter, they are making the safer and healthier choice, but the reality is much more complicated. Unsalted butter is often marketed as the pure, natural version of butter, a product that hasn't been altered with added salt and therefore should be better for cooking, baking, and even for those monitoring sodium intake. While this sounds logical on the surface, there are hidden truths behind how certain butter brands are produced, processed, packaged that can make a huge difference to your health. The label may say, unsalted, but that does not mean the product is automatically high quality or nutritious. In fact, in many cases, the opposite is true. When you begin to look closer, it becomes clear that some unsalted butters are filled with risks that can quietly build up over time in your body. And if you are someone who cares about longevity, energy, and disease prevention, this is something worth paying attention to. Butter is made from cream. When the cream comes from high-quality sources, the butter can be a nourishing food, providing healthy fats, vitamins, and flavor. But when the cream is low-quality, mass-produced, or sourced from cows raised on unnatural diets, the butter you end up with is not the same. Cows that are fed primarily on grains and treated with growth hormones or antibiotics often produce milk that is lower in beneficial nutrients and higher in inflammatory compounds. This difference doesn't disappear when the butter is made. It ends up right there in the product you're spreading on your bread or melting into your pan. Unsalted butter made from poor quality cream may lack the rich, natural flavor of true butter, and more importantly, it may contribute to inflammation, cholesterol imbalance, and digestive issues over time. People often overlook this because they think the absence of salt equals a healthier product. But salt is not the enemy here. The real concern lies in the quality of the cream and the methods used in processing. Another issue with certain unsalted butter brands is that they rely heavily on extended shelf life techniques. Unlike salted butter, which naturally lasts longer due to the preservative effect of salt, unsalted butter spoils more quickly. To get around this, some companies introduce chemical stabilizers, preservatives, or processing shortcuts that make the butter look fresher than it actually is. These additives may not always appear clearly on the label, but they have real effects inside the body. Even in small amounts, chemical preservatives can cause low-level inflammation, disrupt gut health, and interfere with how your body absorbs nutrients. Over time, this can add up, especially if butter is something you consume regularly. The idea of butter being a wholesome, simple food becomes misleading when the final product is a processed, artificial version designed to cut costs and increase profits rather than nourish people. Flavor is another way to notice the difference. Quality unsalted butter has a creamy, slightly sweet flavor that enhances foods naturally. In contrast, lower quality versions taste flat, greasy, or even slightly sour, a sign that the cream was not fresh or that the butter has been overly processed. Many people who cook or bake frequently may not notice these subtle differences at first, but once they try true grass-fed or organic unsalted butter, the contrast is striking. Food should not only fill us up, but also fuel us with vitality, and when a product as basic as butter is compromised, it affects the entire meal and, over time, our overall well-being. Another hidden danger lies in how milk-producing cows are treated in industrial farming operations. When cows are kept in crowded, stressful environments and given a diet of genetically modified grains, the milk they produce is fundamentally different. Lacks the higher levels of omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin K2, and conjugated linoleic acid found in milk from grass-fed, pasture-raised cows. These nutrients are vital for cardiovascular health, bone strength, and metabolic balance. Without them, butter becomes little more than empty fat, something that adds calories without delivering the protective compounds your body truly needs. People often wonder why some butters are cheap while others cost more, and the answer is usually in the farming practices. That dollar saved on a cheaper pack of unsalted butter may actually cost far more in terms of your long-term health. The psychological effect of believing you are making a healthy choice when you are not can also be damaging. Choosing unsalted butter under the impression that it is automatically the cleaner option gives a false sense of security. It's easy to justify eating more of it or using it daily without thinking about the hidden drawbacks. This is where awareness makes all the difference. When you know that the type of cream, the diet of the cow, the absence or presence of hormones, the inclusion of additives all play a role in the butter's health impact, you begin to shop differently. You start to look past the bowl unsalted label on the front of the packaging and read deeper, searching for signs of quality and integrity. At the end of the day, the butter you choose is not just about taste or price, it is about fueling your body with something either healing or harmful. Small, repeated choices around food have a cumulative effect. If you choose unsalted butter brands that cut corners, rely on preservatives, or use low-quality cream, you may be undermining your health little by little. If you choose better sources, your butter can actually contribute to your wellness instead of detracting from it. This is why understanding the truth about unsalted butter matters more than most people realize. Here's the expansion of Keynote No.2 into around 700 words, keeping it flowing like a video script without headings or closing sentences. When it comes to unsalted butter, not all brands deserve a place in your kitchen. Some should be avoided at all costs. The truth is that many products sitting on store shelves are designed with profit in mind, not your health. Companies know that consumers are drawn to the word unsalted because it signals purity and simplicity, but behind the scenes the production process often tells a different story. Cheap store brand butters are one of the first categories to stay away from. These are the kinds of butter that are mass-produced with very little focus on quality. They are often made from cream sourced from cows raised in industrial conditions, fed on grains rather than natural grass, exposed to hormones and antibiotics to increase milk production. The resulting butter lacks the vital nutrients your body thrives on and instead delivers fats that can contribute to inflammation and imbalance in the body. What may seem like a budget-friendly choice today could quietly cost you more in terms of your long-term well-being. Another group that raises red flags is overly processed butter brands. Because unsalted butter has a naturally shorter shelf life, some companies rely on methods to extend it artificially. They may introduce additives, stabilizers, or even certain chemical preservatives that don't always make their way onto the ingredient label clearly enough for the average shopper to notice. These substances aren't part of butter in its natural form, and when consumed regularly, they can create stress on the body. Low-level inflammation is one of the most common outcomes of eating overly processed foods, and inflammation is a silent trigger for many chronic diseases. Something as seemingly harmless as butter, when processed in this way, can be one more factor working against your health goals without you even realizing it. The impact is not only on your physical health, but also on the taste and enjoyment of food. Butter that is heavily processed often tastes bland or even develops an off flavor, lacking the depth and richness that real butter should have. Food made with this kind of butter can feel greasy rather than satisfying, leaving you less nourished, and sometimes even craving more. This is one of the ways poor quality foods trick the body into overconsumption. They fail to deliver real nutrition, so the body continues sending hunger signals in search of what it truly needs. In this way, processed unsalted butter is not only nutritionally lacking but also counterproductive if you are trying to manage your weight or simply feel satisfied after a meal. Imported butter can sound luxurious and tempting, but not every imported option is worth trusting. While certain countries have very high standards for dairy production, others do not, and the consumer is left guessing which side of the spectrum their butter falls on. Some imported unsalted butters are mass-produced with minimal regulation, and what reaches the shelf may look attractive in packaging but doesn't deliver when it comes to quality. Without transparency in sourcing, there is no way to guarantee that the cream came from healthy cows or that it was processed in a way that protects its nutrients. Just because a butter brand comes from abroad doesn't mean it's automatically superior. In some cases, you may be paying a premium for nothing more than clever marketing and long shipping routes, and the nutritional profile is no better than the cheapest store brand sitting next to it. There is also the issue of freshness. Unsalted butter by nature spoils faster because it lacks the natural preservative effect of salt. That means when you buy a brand that has been imported from halfway around the world, it has likely been sitting in transit for weeks, if not months. By the time it reaches your kitchen, it may already be well past its peak. The nutritional benefits have diminished. Some companies try to disguise this with packaging that emphasizes brightness or purity, but no amount of branding can undo the fact that butter is freshest when it comes from closer to home and hasn't endured weeks of shipping and storage. Consumers deserve to know that just because a product is labeled as unsalted doesn't automatically mean it's pure or beneficial. The butter aisle is filled with products that rely on shortcuts, mass production, and misleading labels to capture your trust. Every time you choose one of these lower quality brands, you expose yourself to unnecessary risks, whether from hidden additives, nutritionally inferior cream, or the lack of transparency in how the product was made. Butter is meant to be a simple food, but companies have managed to turn it into something complicated by prioritizing shelf life and profit margins over health and quality. This is why it becomes so important to educate yourself about what goes into your food. Once you understand which unsalted butter brands fall into these categories, cheap, processed, or poorly regulated imports, you can make more empowered decisions. By refusing to settle for these low-quality options, you're not just choosing better butter, you're choosing to take control of your diet and protect your health from the small but cumulative effects of bad food choices. When you strip away the confusion and clever marketing, there are really only two kinds of unsalted butter that consistently prove to be worth your money and your health, and the first is grass-fed unsalted butter. This kind of butter comes from cows that graze naturally on pasture, eating the diet they were designed to eat rather than being fed cheap grains or industrial feed. That one difference changes everything because when cows eat grass, the milk they produce becomes richer in beneficial nutrients like omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin K2, conjugated linoleic acid, all of which play an important role in supporting the body. Omega-3s are known for helping balance inflammation and protecting heart health. Vitamin K2 helps guide calcium into the bones where it belongs instead of letting it harden the arteries. Conjugated linoleic acid has been linked to better metabolism and even fat loss. When you buy grass-fed unsalted butter, you're not just getting a spread for your toast, you're getting a food that supports your body at a cellular level. The flavor is another clear sign of the difference. Grass-fed butter tends to have a richer, almost golden hue and a depth of taste that ordinary butter simply can't match. That's because the natural diet of the cows transfers directly into the cream and then into the butter, creating a fuller, more satisfying taste that can elevate everything from baked goods to simple vegetables sautéed in a pan. Choosing this type of butter is about more than avoiding something bad. It's about leaning into something genuinely nourishing. The second kind of butter worth paying attention to is organic unsalted butter from trusted or local brands. Organic certification ensures that the cows producing the cream weren't treated with synthetic hormones or unnecessary antibiotics. It also means they weren't eating feed sprayed with toxic pesticides or genetically modified grains. This matters because whatever goes into the cow eventually finds its way into the milk, and from the milk into the butter. Organic butter eliminates many of the hidden risks associated with industrial dairy, giving you peace of mind that what you are putting on your plate is clean and free from unnecessary chemicals. Supporting local or smaller-scale dairy farms also adds another layer of benefit. These farms are more likely to prioritize the health of their animals and the quality of their milk rather than chasing mass production and long shelf life. When you buy organic butter from a nearby source, you're not only ensuring freshness, but also investing in a system of food production that values sustainability, animal welfare, and integrity. That butter may not be the cheapest option on the shelf, but the value it delivers in quality and peace of mind is far greater than what you save on a budget brand. The difference between these two categories of butter and the ones to avoid is night and day. Grass-fed and organic unsalted butters work with your body rather than against it. Instead of contributing to inflammation or delivering empty fats, they provide a balance of nutrients that support the heart, bones, and metabolism. Instead of giving you food that tastes flat and requires additives to mask its shortcomings, they give you real flavor that comes directly from nature. They also empower you to feel confident about what you're feeding yourself and your family. Butter is something many people eat daily, whether on bread, in cooking, or as part of a recipe, and because it's a regular part of life, the quality of that butter makes a cumulative impact. Every small choice adds up. Consistently choosing better butter can mean better health outcomes over the years. It is also worth remembering that these two kinds of butter align more closely with how butter was traditionally meant to be. Before industrial farming practices took over, cows were raised on grass, free of synthetic hormones, and the resulting butter was naturally higher in nutrients and flavor. What we think of today as premium or specialty butter was once simply the norm. By choosing grass-fed or organic unsalted butter, you are essentially returning to that more natural way of eating, one that prioritizes food quality over convenience or profit margins. In a world where so many of our foods are compromised by shortcuts and additives, going back to basics can feel like a radical act of self-care. These butters also encourage mindful eating. When you spread a little grass-fed butter on warm bread or melt organic butter over steamed vegetables, the taste is so much more satisfying that you often need less to feel content. This not only improves your overall eating experience, but also helps with portion control and balance. High-quality fats signal to the body that it is receiving real nourishment, which calms cravings and supports energy stability. Poor quality fats, on the other hand, can leave you feeling sluggish and unsatisfied, leading to overeating. The type of butter you choose directly influences how your body processes food, how your metabolism responds, and how satisfied you feel after meals. For anyone who has struggled with food choices or felt overwhelmed by the number of unhealthy products on store shelves, these two categories, grass-fed and organic unsalted butter, offer a simple solution. You don't need to memorize a long list of brand names or study every ingredient label if you stick with these principles. Look for grass-fed on the packaging, or look for organic certification from a trusted source, and you will already be ahead of most shoppers. It is a small shift in awareness that pays back every time you sit down for a meal. And while the price tag may be higher than the cheapest option, the cost is truly an investment in your health, your energy, and your future. The choices we make in the grocery store might seem small, almost insignificant compared to bigger lifestyle habits, but food is one of the most direct ways we either harm ourselves or heal ourselves every single day. Something as simple as choosing the right butter has the power to influence our long-term energy, our mood, and even how our body defends itself against illness. When people hear that certain unsalted butter brands should be avoided, they sometimes shrug and think it cannot possibly make much of a difference. But the truth is that repeated small decisions stack up in ways we don't always notice right away. Eating poor quality butter once might not matter, but making it a habit for months or years slowly adds to the load of toxins, inflammation, and nutrient deficiencies your body has to manage. Over time, that can be the difference between feeling tired and heavy or feeling light, focused, and strong. Food is more than calories. Food is information for your cells, a signal that tells your body either to repair and thrive or to struggle and store. When you choose high-quality butter made from grass-fed or organic cream, you're telling your body that it deserves nutrients that actually support it. You're giving it omega-3s that calm inflammation, vitamin K2 that protects your arteries and bones, and healthy fats that stabilize your hormones and brain function. On the other hand, when you settle for low-quality processed butter filled with additives or sourced from cows raised in industrial conditions, you're telling your body that profit margins matter more than health. It doesn't happen overnight, but slowly those signals add up until you find yourself dealing with issues like joint stiffness, lack of focus, weight gain, or an overall decline in vitality. The motivational shift comes from realizing that you always have the power to choose differently. Every trip to the store is an opportunity to vote with your money, to support companies and farms that care about quality, and to invest in your own well-being. People often believe that healthy living requires drastic changes, expensive supplements, or giving up foods they enjoy, but in reality it often begins with swapping out poor options for better ones. Butter is a perfect example. It's not about removing it from your diet or living with less flavor. It's about choosing the version of butter that enhances your health instead of draining it. That small act is a declaration that your body matters and that your future matters more than saving a few cents today. Once you start making choices like this, the ripple effect is incredible. You begin to notice how much better food tastes when it's made with quality ingredients. You realize how much more satisfied you feel when your body is receiving nutrients instead of empty fillers. That satisfaction reduces cravings, stabilizes your energy, keeps you from chasing junk food to fill the gaps. The pride that comes from nourishing yourself in the right way spills over into other areas of your life. You start to look at other foods with more awareness, asking yourself if they truly serve your body or if they just trick you with flashy packaging and low prices. Awareness is empowering, and each step in the right direction builds momentum until eating well feels natural and effortless. There is also a deeper motivational element to consider. The way you treat your body is often a reflection of how much you value yourself. Settling for unhealthy food is like saying you don't deserve better, while choosing high-quality options is a reminder that you are worth the investment. For many people, this mental shift is more powerful than the nutritional benefits alone. When you consistently choose food that aligns with health and vitality, you reinforce the belief that you care about your future and that you are committed to living fully rather than just getting by. Butter may seem small, but the mindset behind the choice is huge. It's not about perfection, it's about consistency. Everyone has moments where convenience wins or unhealthy options sneak in, and that's okay. What matters most is the pattern, the baseline of your daily habits. If most of the time you choose butter that fuels your body and avoid the brands that drag you down, you will feel the difference in the long run. Energy levels will rise, your digestion will improve, your skin may clear, and even your mental clarity will benefit. These are the kinds of changes that add up to a higher quality of life, not just a longer one. When you look at health from this perspective, stops being about restriction or fear and starts being about empowerment and abundance. You're not avoiding bad butter because you're scared, choosing good butter because you want to feel alive, vibrant, and strong. You're not denying yourself flavor, you're actually enhancing it with butter that tastes the way it was meant to taste. You're not making sacrifices, you're making upgrades. That shift in language and mindset turns healthy living into something motivating rather than overwhelming. The real reward is knowing that your daily actions align with your goals. You want to be healthy, you want to be strong for your family, you want to enjoy life without constant health struggles, and every time you pick up a quality product instead of a poor one, you're moving closer to that reality. This is why paying attention to something as small as butter matters. It's not about the butter itself, it's about the discipline, self-respect, and vision for your future that the choice represents. By avoiding low-quality options and choosing those that are worth it, prove to yourself that you are committed to living a better life. And when that commitment grows, it extends to every other decision you make, creating a powerful cycle of motivation and positive change. When you think about food shopping, it can feel like just another chore, a quick run to the store to grab what you need. But when you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, every item you put into your cart is shaping your health and your future. Keynote 5 is about understanding the larger connection between these small choices and the life you want to live. Because it's not only about butter, it's about the mindset behind every food decision. The problem with low-quality unsalted butter brands isn't just what they contain, it's also the habit they reinforce. When you repeatedly reach for cheap, overly processed options, you're training yourself to accept less than what your body truly deserves. Over time, this quiet acceptance becomes normal, and the result is a body that struggles with energy, a mind that feels foggy, and a spirit that knows deep down you could be doing better for yourself. Food choices are rarely isolated. They build patterns that spill over into every other area of life. There is something powerful about saying no to brands that are harmful and yes to the ones that nourish. That act alone creates momentum. When you put the better option in your cart, you're not just buying food, you're affirming that you're taking control. This feeling of control over what you consume creates motivation in other areas as well, whether that's finally starting a workout routine, drinking more water, or setting aside time to rest and recharge. The energy you feel from fueling your body well is real, and once you taste it, it's hard to go back. Imagine cooking a meal with rich, golden grass-fed butter that not only tastes incredible but also leaves you satisfied and energized afterward. That experience plants a seed, showing you what's possible when you prioritize quality. Suddenly the thought of returning to dull, lifeless butter loaded with preservatives feels wrong, and you start applying the same logic to other foods in your kitchen. This awareness is like a switch being flipped. Instead of passively consuming whatever is most convenient, you begin asking better questions. Where does this food come from? How was it made? Does it actually benefit me? Or is it just pretending to be healthy? Those questions are the beginning of empowerment, because they break the cycle of blindly trusting marketing and force you to make intentional choices. The more intentional you become, the stronger your sense of discipline grows, and discipline is the foundation for any lasting change. Even something as small as butter can teach you the value of patience and awareness. You learn to slow down in the grocery store, to scan labels, to compare quality, and those habits train your mind to pause and think before acting in other parts of life as well. There is also an emotional element here. Choosing better food reminds you that you are worthy of nourishment, that your body deserves fuel that supports it rather than drags it down. Many people carry the unconscious belief that their health doesn't matter, or that taking shortcuts is the only option, but when you begin to feed yourself with respect, you challenge that belief. You show yourself that your future health is valuable enough to invest in, that your energy and vitality are priorities, and that you are worth the effort. Over time, this belief becomes self-reinforcing. The more you honor your body with good food, the more motivated you feel to continue. The better you feel physically, the more capable you become of making progress in every area of your life. It's also important to recognize how much these decisions affect the people around you. If you have children, family members, or friends who share meals with you, your choices influence them too. When they see you buying high-quality butter or avoiding certain brands, it sparks curiosity. They start to wonder why you made that choice. Before long, they might begin making similar changes themselves. In this way, your small decision becomes part of a larger ripple effect, spreading awareness and encouraging healthier habits in your circle. Food is communal, and the example you set by valuing your health can motivate others to do the same. That is a legacy worth leaving, and it begins with something as simple as what you decide to spread on a piece of bread. The bigger lesson of this keynote is that your life is built on small choices repeated over time. A single choice to avoid a bad butter brand won't transform your health overnight, but repeated consistently, it sends a powerful message to your body and mind, builds resilience, self-respect, and a standard for the kind of life you want to live. The same way poor choices accumulate to create disease and fatigue, good choices accumulate to create energy, strength, and confidence. Once you see the power in this truth, the grocery store is no longer just a place to shop. It becomes a place where you actively shape your future. Each item you pick up is a step toward either the life you want or the life you're trying to avoid. So when you stand in front of that butter aisle, remember it isn't just about flavor or price. It's about self-respect, awareness, and the willingness to invest in your future. Every decision adds up. The path to health is built one small but intentional choice at a time.